Welcome back to Rival Esports. Welcome back to the RLRS plans. Apologies for the big delay that we just had between the last match and this one. Some technical issues that we had. And as a result, we had to bring in a jar of jam, fresh off the back of casting some Baltic Rocket League is here to decide the next team through to the RLRS. Jam, how you doing, man?
I'm doing just fine. I'm still hyped from what we just saw together with Face, our fellow caster in the Baltic League. These teams, any season now, will be competing in RLRS as well. But first, I think we need to figure out who will be competing in RLRS right now.
Indeed, yes. We have already seen Discombobulators, Flop Resort, and Fadeaway make it in to join ARG and Method up as part of the final 10 of the RLRS. And now, next up on stream, it's a big old match. Echo Zulu, the underdogs of Leipzig, versus EGirls, the underdogs of virtually every qualifier since Leipzig. So there's plenty of action to be held in this one, guys. I'm excited to see how this match is going to go, to be honest. Like, this is some really big talents in the roster, you know?
Well, just looking at them, really. Team Echo Zulu, of course, well known in the scene as that second best Dutch team after MCon. MCon's no longer a thing, so hey, Team Echo Zulu is now the best Dutch team. And on the side of EGirls, every single player you take from that roster, Ixo, Pondix, and Arzu, they're in a way a star in their own caliber.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I feel like Echo Zulu haven't had their chance to really shine as of late. But you know, Chrome, I don't know if you were around back in the Leipzig days, but do you remember much about this roster? Do you have any particular memories and maybe particular faith that these guys might be able to beat out the firepower of the E-Girls on the blue side of the court?
I have to confess, my the Leipzig days were perhaps not my most well studied. I was in the middle of exams, but I'm familiar. I do remember the names. I remember the names. So, it looks like we're in for a treat.
Just being told. Yeah, I'm just being told that we're about ready to get into the matchup, so we're just about to go straight into this one. I want to get some quick predictions from you guys, though. E-Girls, they're quite firepower. Do we have some faith, Jam? I'll start with you. Do you think that they're going to make it in?
Really, just based on the names, they should, but I'm going to stick with Team Echo Zulu.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty surprising pick. I don't know about...
been losing everything. Most likely will repeat itself here.
Wow, they've been losing everything. Therefore, they're going to fall to
Your
Echo Zulu.
words, not mine.
Yeah, you said it, right? No, I'm repeating what you said, okay? Chrome, do you disagree, or are you all aboard the E-Girls hype train?
I'm actually the classic Twitch viewer. I'm all aboard the E-Girls hype train. I think they, contrary to popular opinion, can actually go the distance. So that's where my money lies, in contrast to Jam's.
Awesome. Well, I'm being told that the players are about ready to jump into this one. Now, you boys will be casting this one. I think we're just about to jump into this one very quickly. So I just want to ask, anything you're going to be looking for in particular at this one? Are you expecting any particularly flashy plays from any one player?
Good
It
question.
has to be flashy.
All right, then let's go. I'm being told we're into the matchup. So, Jam, Chrome, take it away.
Well, thanks very much, Jay. And here we are in game number 1 of E-Girls versus Easy, the Echo Zulus. And already, Mitayan going big against Pondex, but the double touch from Arju, now that is something to really get you started. How's that for an opening play there, Jam?
I would like to quickly get back to Jay and answer his question that he has posed to us. Will we see any flashy play? The answer is yes. Here's Arju with a double tap to start this one off. Couldn't wish for a better start for this game.
Absolutely. Well, that's kicking it off in style right there as we are opening up this qualifying series. Mitayan going big, not quite going to find anything, but again, lots of pressure from Easy to counter the E-Girls with that opening play. Their impact, going to go for the boost and divert off on the back rotation rather than try and challenge Ixo. Just looking for a bit of control here, but again, immediately taken away by impact. Echo Zulu looking to try and equalize, stabilize the field before it gets too out of hand. As we saw, I don't know if you were able to catch any of the previous series there, Jan, but Fadeaway versus Team Vertex. Fadeaway often had the opening goal, just maintaining absolute control of the pitch, but no, it is not to be the same. Echo Zulu equalizes pretty early on, 2 goals within the minute, and now we're back at a score draw.
They just refuse to leave the E-Girls side, shot after shot, putting on the backboard again and again and again. At some point, the defense was had to break, and E-Girls weren't able to keep that ball away from them. As a result, the ball just kept on moving closer to the net, and the only other result that could happen is that you're getting scored upon.
Oh, rule 1 broken by, I believe that was Taz actually breaking that one. Not a fan of that at all. But as you say, it's all still to go, still to play for. Arju hopping over 1, hopping over 2, can't quite get the redirect to slam that one home. But Ixo gets the demo, opens up the space, double commit on the save. Pondex gets Mitayan with another touch, but unfortunately just bumps Mitayan into the oncoming path of the ball. Ixo Another double commit there from Taz and Mitaean. I think, Jam, we have some rotational difficulties for Echo Zulu at the minute.
You say rotational difficulties? That series of save that were made, including with Mitan being bullied and still getting a touch in that ball, is important. I might eat my own words that was an open net and ball almost got into it. Team Echo Zulu, in my opinion, are still holding up pretty strongly. They were able to survive that initial storm that EGirls were showing.
Looks like they've weathered it just for now, but are the EGirls going to be able to come back and strike? Because looking at that, Arju with a clutch save up against the bar. Slightly questionable rotations perhaps, but it could really swing either way at just the touch of a button. Impact looking for the slow roll into the top right corner there. But Taz looking to take that one over Arju and Ito. So now, Jam, now I'm starting to notice a lot of double commits from both teams. Maybe that's something we should be on the watch for.
Double commits, some perhaps weird directional plays. That pass that we just seen to the side, or just a pop-off that wasn't really leading the ball to anyone. Left Team Echo Zulu with the last possession, rather, in my opinion. And while EGirls were not able to completely take the use of that, it still doesn't seem like they've used that chance to 100% of their ability.
I don't know about you, Jam, but it does feel like both teams are still slightly trying to find their rhythm here. They're not quite in the groove. Iso getting the touch in. I believe there was a bump there from Pondex onto Taz, so that would have been a great setup for a goal attempt. But double demo to try and stop any counterplay from Easy. Arju to bump up to Ixo. Ixo off the wall to Arju. Arju off the wall to the third man. No Pondex to be seen sensibly holding back in defense there, trying to stop the shot from Mitaean. Decent save. Taz again to put it back in. There's the dunk attempt, and it's in. Impact finding that top right again. That seems to be the favourite spot here for Echo Zulu. And now the EGirls are in a little bit of a trouble here.
Oh, you want to be flashy, just scoring in the middle of a net? No, you need to be precise. You need to be where it's harder to reach, where it's harder to bring the ball out. And even with two defenders, EGirls seemingly reading that whole play, still couldn't stop Impact's second goal of the game. Maybe he just likes that spot, or maybe he just likes to score open net. Too slow for that bonus attempt.
And then again, we saw the slow roll on the offense. I think that was, yeah, as you say, Pondex looking to try and get something going, but nothing really working particularly solidly off of that attempt. Pondex again with the clear off the top wall. So gets Taz down and out. And again, we're just seeing these long bounces here, Jam. I believe Pondex missing that one ever so slightly. Could have been a nice three-man setup. Here we are. 1 minute left on the clock. Arju off to Pondex. No. Impact looking to try and sneak another one home. Mitaean just gets beat to the ball there by Arju or Ixu, one of the two. And now the counter-attack is shut down. Taz gets the demo. Ixo, is he going to be Ix solo? Go big all alone? Doesn't look like it. Arju sensibly pulls away. Got to get back and protect that goal line. Gets another touch into the midfield. Is there a teammate to take over? There is. Ixo bangs it on net. He's going to get turned away by Mitaean. Arju with a great read, but that's not a favourable position. Impact bullying Pondex off the field. That is some aggressive demo play to try and shut that one down early on, giving EGirls no space to breathe. As fires another one off. And Jam, with that Impact's hat-trick, I think game one is just about spoken for.
Yeah, it was already closing out down to be something that EGirls were trying to do, but never really reaching. And then with that fat period put by Team Echo Zulu with only 9 seconds remaining, I don't think this game will be changing its leader anytime soon. Just not enough chances used by EGirls. They were getting up front, but Team Echo Zulu was always answering with something of their own. And let's say their finishing is much more better than what EGirls have shown. 1-0 to them, but it's a best-of-5 series, so a comeback opportunity is still on the boards.
Still lots to play for here, as you say, Jam, but Echo Zulu just looking a little bit more comfortable with that. Impact's not afraid to get physical. Taz and Mitaean holding the line. Decent game of Rocket League right there. I don't know, EGirls just weren't really finding their stride. I think that's fair to say, Jam. They're just not quite finding that groove, especially with the disruption of Impact. I mean, look at him, MVP, all the goals, lots of shots, and he's still finding time to make those demos, make those disruption plays. Whereas EGirls just weren't quite finding that connection. They weren't quite feeling it as much as maybe.
Yeah,
So
it could be just. It could be a difference, the fact that Team Echo Zulu, this roster has been together, I'd say, for at least a year now. They have been sticking together since Leipzig, and even before that when they were playing in the local Benelux leagues. For EGirls, well, these three folks are sort of playing with each other on and off. I wouldn't exactly say that this is, at least not to my information, that this is a full-blown roster, something that is really is trying to get and make it there as a team. So it might be just that. It's just how well you're used to your teammates, how well you know where your teammate's going to be. And Impact definitely knows exactly where his place is, and his attacking rotations show that he can be both on the striking edge or somewhere in the more disruptive role.
A little bit of that team chemistry there coming out on top in game number 1 with Echo Zulu. Obviously that long-lasting bond that they have formed, giving them the advantage. But in game number 2, all still to play for here in this best of 5 jam. Echo Zulu already off to a flying start. Impact coming off, does have the flip reset. Fakes one for Taz. And Taz is able to come flying on through, and he's getting a piece of the action right now.
Just kind enough to give his teammate a goal. Impact was still going on for it. You can see it in the corner of the screen. I'm surprised more that the RG. I think RG was also respecting Impact coming in. Not exactly sure who's going to take it from his angle. He had to guess. He guessed wrong. And that shot by Taz goes straight on target. Demolition straight off the kickoff. No, solid every single time. For Team Echo Zulu, there's someone always rotating and being able to take those shots. And since the follow-up doesn't come in, EGirls take that one shot. As strong as it looks, it just doesn't get the job done. They need more.
You're absolutely right, Jam. And even then, I think, you know, the point we made about team chemistry coming in there, Pondex tried to chip it up, but no one was following. And immediately that mistake was capitalized upon by Echo Zulu. They just know where their boys are at all times. And EGirls just maybe not quite finding the same level of mesh or connection. Arju and Pondex still finding each other, but these attempts are yet to succeed in a major way. Taz going up early, looking for the ceiling play, has the flip reset. Not really that much power on it though, not enough to do anything significant. Impact now, looking to dolphin dive that one down. But Ixo on the back wall says no to that particular attempt. And it's just going to kind of sit here, resting in the blue half. And now there's the breakaway. Ixo to Arju. Pondex wasn't expecting that touch though, Jao. I don't think anyone was. And again, that's just another opportunity not quite hitting the mark.
I thought you were shooting on target. No, that was a pass. Well, you should have warned me next time.
Yeah.
Pondex. It was it could have been anything, but in the end, it just fizzled out. EGirls had themselves an attacking opportunity, and I'd say this is a great game to try something out. That pass was really, you could see that pass from a mile away. Team Echo Zulu just hugging that one last player. I think it was Pondex, still danger, and still easily saved. Now 2 players from Team Echo Zulu. I still can't say enough about how solid their defense is, but this defense is only being tested by 1 or 2 shots. What I want to see from EGirls is that combined effort of 3 shots, or a passing play, something that moves the defense around, rather than 1 shot and then, man, we're in no position to hit for a second one because that wasn't a strong shot. We don't have any players. EGirls just not getting enough resources up front.
Yeah, for sure. Myself and Jay were talking earlier about this kind of idea of defensive formations and doing something which pulls it apart or distorts it in any way. And what we've seen from Echo Zulu definitely has that with the fake from Impact and Taz. Oh, Arju has a shot. There's the chance for Pondex. Pondex sends it wide. Oh, that is heartbreaking for the EGirls, and Impact just again to clear. But yeah, Jam, we're just not seeing anything that is challenging the Echo Zulu formation. It's not a 3-man a set, really. It's just 1 or 2 lone shots which don't have enough threat behind them to make it worthwhile. Whereas Echo Zulu are definitely hammering on the pressure. They're having 1 or 2 shots, and then there's a follow-up. Then there's an extra attempt or a recenter or something. And that's what they're working towards right now.
Yeah, they're, as you mentioned, they're just shaking the defense out, that which allows them to find a gap somewhere in between the EGirls players. Same is just not happening in Team Echo Zulu's defense, although you could see that EGirls came close. They currently have 5 shots, and this game has been quiet for a long while. It still is it's low scoring. You can see only 1 goal, so this could either go immediately to a tie situation, or Team Echo Zulu can increase their lead, but it's still not going to be insurmountable. EGirls are still in it, but if they're not getting anything done individually, and I know they can do some fantastic individual plays, then they either really need to try harder at this point, or they need to bring that good old team play.
Yeah, I think that's just what we keep coming back to, Jam. It's just that team play. It's there for Echo Zulu, obviously, as a more consistent roster, whereas EGirls they're not quite warmed up enough. EXO has the chance though. And speaking of team play, what went wrong there for Echo Zulu? Taz went up, Taz missed off a bad curve bounce, just the pop out, and then EXO's free to go.
It's insult to injury, Chrome, really. 3 players of a team Echo Zulu didn't touch the ball on that play. Everyone has been on some way outfaked, outplayed. And then EXO was just standing there. He said, all right, seems like a good place for me to be. Well, he just arrived for a pass coming in, and that pass did come in through. And there you go. That lead is not cut down to absolutely nothing. And from this situation, from this position, EGirls can actually continue on pushing. This is their game to steal away from Team Echo Zulu.
Eek solo comes out, but is it going to be enough? Echo Zulu have already shown they can go 2 for 1. They're the ones that are making that second strike. EXO again is going to get denied by Taz. Doesn't get the bump, and Taz just knocked into a position where he can hit the ball forward. Just unfortunate positioning there. EXO again. Ball is lofted. Arju and Pondex looking to try and race back to stop that one before it gets too dangerous. 10 seconds now. Both teams not going to be wanting to let a goal go right at the whistle. He's going to look to try and clear this one out. I imagine Echo Zulu are just going to let this one go free and play for the overtime rather than chase it down. Although now they're in the blue half, maybe the story's changed. Impact going to try and keep this one alive. As long as that ball is not crossing thresholds, still free to go. But nope, Impact just going to drop that one down.
I think Impact still up until the very end was trying to go forward, but from that position, I think all the chances that they had in the attack were already dead. And by that point, they were risking that now on retreat they will concede themselves. But straight off the kickoff, it's a good opportunity for both of the teams really to strike on an unsuspecting opponent. The reset really helps. You're in equal positions, and rotations are thrown off just for a little bit. Some team that was in the control of the game, and in a way, EGirls were really heavily controlling it. They've made 8 shots. Of 5 of these found the goalie of Team Echo Zulu. They definitely have been putting on more pressure, but now that the overtime has started, Team Echo Zulu can now take the pressure in their own hands. It doesn't seem likely just yet, though, as the ball is squarely in the orange half.
That's actually perhaps the longest time it's been in the orange half throughout the whole series. It's just in this 50-odd seconds of overtime. And EGirls are actually making a really conscientious push, although Impact gets it past one. Arju on the back line has to try and get a clear out. Read by Tab, but there's Pondex with the big loft. EXO's already up. Can he look for the redirect? No, can't quite find the cherry picker. And Arju, just again, going to bang it out to EXO. Still on that back wall, though, very low on boost. Not sure he actually has any left in the tank. And it's a resource fight. Pondex just getting thoroughly messed up by Matean there, who has not been afraid to get involved, get his hands dirty. Now EXO still 0 boost, finds the mid boost just in time, but not going to be able to follow up on this from Mitaeans and Tane. And now the EGirls are pushed back into their own net. Arju has the lob, Mitaean is up, gets the air bump, Taz to cover though. Someone's been watching a little bit of too much Rocket League YouTube for that one. Oh, good attempt from Arju, but it is going to be shut down. Taz on the rotation, covering for his teammate. Now again, booming it out top. Both teams, neither's really finding the advantage, but there it is, the poor rotation. Opponents can't get to it in time. And the Echo Zulus are off and flying. 2-1 in overtime, same score as the previous. They are going 2-0 up in the series. That is really inexcusable from EGirls. They just let it slip right at the last minute there, and Echo Zulu, Jam's favourites, are moving on up in the series 2-0 as the EGirls are struggling to find a secure footing.
I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it, Chrome. At some point, their defense was looking shaky. It really, EGirls almost found that answer, but then it just took a good old challenge. A good old challenge in the midfield. One time you're faster than your opponent that thinks that they have your number. They know how fast you can play. That point, they get strong, and that's how Team Echo Zulu were able to break it down, just putting somewhere in the midfield that much faster. Bam, nobody at home for EGirls. All that pressure that has been building up, all those, again, 10 shots that they've managed to get on in, counts for nothing if that one crucial moment with the game tied in the overtime, you just one challenge that you miss just ruins the whole day.
Exactly right. And again, I think it's not that EGirls are playing particularly poorly for the level. It's just that Echo Zulu again has that team composition, that advantage of that long-standing roster. So they do know where each other are. They can go for those bumps or those demos because they are fully aware of where their teammates are going to be. So again, I do wonder if actually EGirls, not by any virtue of how they play, but just their team cohesion is perhaps the thing that's letting them down right at the end, or even right at the end of the qualifying rounds here. Obviously, still the losers bracket for whoever does end up losing this match and a chance of redemption. But that's not a position you want to be fighting in if you've already been playing for how many hours in the day here, Joe?
Oh man, and they've started at 3 p.m. my local time, so that's 2 p.m. Central European time, and it's late, bro. It's definitely late. It's getting in on, oh god, I need to do quick math, and that's definitely not my forte. Close to 5 hours now. So it's going to be tough for these teams. It is a marathon, and again, you want to take that spot for yourself right now. No second chances, because you might get a team that is a little bit more, has more stamina than you, and then knowing just how close many of these both teams are, you are just might be out of luck just because you couldn't clinch it here and now are too tired to continue.
Or even, if the teams in the lower brackets have been warmed up or playing consistently, or even they've had a break to watch some of the other games catch up, and you've just come from this, and then you don't have any more official games until that losers qualifying round. So that's a big mental block to kind of overcome. So really, whichever team can take it here, not only is instantly qualified into the RRS, but also has that mental pressure completely removed. Whereas the loser of this series definitely going to have to contend with a lot more than just another 3 players on the field. EXO going big though in the corner, doesn't get the touch. A little bit of an airplay. RG now trying to take it over to the side. Impact beats him to it. We've seen Impact be massively aggressive here in the blue half, in the offense. Here's EXO. Oh, that was a lovely little setup. Matean just there to read and react pretty damn well there, Jam. And Impact again, he's off flying. Pondex helps him along, chips him along the way. No boost here for Impact, but he's just looking to cause a little bit of havoc. Matean just to gently touch that one off to the side to Taz. And then take back control himself. Again, just look at the teamwork here, Jam. They're so coordinated. They just understand who's supposed to be where, and I think that's perhaps what EGirls are lacking right now.
That defense is tremendous. Just how well Team Echo Zulu are moving around, and then when the time is right, Impact will drop it down, not on target. Paz does play it off the post. It's nice to have a teammate not only defense but in the offense as well. But I'd say that Impact pretty much had it on his own. EXO was beat. I don't think EXO got a touch on that one. But a safety player was still following them, and from defense, surviving, because EGirls have constantly pestering Team Echo Zulu in defense with a variety of shots. There's always having someone to then into the attack of Lumicon when they know when they can strike. And really, EGirls were almost nowhere near that to make a save.
Pretty much, man. There's just such a depth, I think, to Echo Zulu, as you say. The EGirls aren't quite sure what to expect. Oh, there's a good flick from Pondex, but it's not going to beat Matean. Going to have to wake up a little bit earlier than that to beat the backline here. EXO looking to infield it. RG just a little bit far back on that. Now Taz is chasing it. And now we're seeing Team Echo Zulu push the pace of the game. They don't want to give EGirls a moment to breathe. They want to try and capitalize they will. Impact with a brilliant follow-up of an absolutely glorious playset. Pondex pops it up over EXO. EXO doesn't have the double jump to get up with the right speed, and Arju just a little bit too little too late coming in from that right-hand side. And Echo Zulu pushing on ahead, 2-0 here in this game. EGirls yet to score. In every other game they found the equalizer or the first goal, but now they are left with nothing on their plate. They need to try and get something going if they have any chance of stabilizing the series.
Right now, everything I feel is going into Team Echo Zulu's way. Look how eager they're looking to score the third one straight off the kickoff. Just now finding themselves 3 versus 1 defender. Arju still keeps alive, but the girls think, all right, now the attack is over. We now can put more players up front again. No, Team Echo Zulu is immediately there threatening you. You better be careful and better be scared. And even with that defense, it's still no threat just yet. Ball is flying high up in the air, but nobody's getting it.
What a touch. I mean, even, you said, Jam, that defense was slightly questionable there from Easy, but no challenge. nothing offensively getting going for EGirls that actually threatens that at all. And again, a great flying block from Impact, covering for his teammates wherever he needs to be. Matean levels that one off. The EGs are going to take that one off to the side. No cigar just yet for EZ, but EGirls still hounding it. They're just not having any real success. Matean's up, Taz covering in with the pre-jump. Arju gets taken out of the way. Taz beaten by Ixo, but Impact already in the backline. Good rotation. Another demolition onto Pondex. Now there's the flick. Beats one, but Ixo up. Again, just seems to be doing a lot of work here for the EGirls. Impact levels it high. Going to steal that back boost as well. And now it's becoming a game of resources. 40 seconds left. 2 goals, absolutely not impossible, Jam. But starting to become improbable here with what little EGirls have left in their tanks.
I mean, they're throwing a lot at their opposition. It's just that Team Zulu is all ready to stop them. At some point, their defensive jumps in front of the ball should end, but EGirls never have enough to get to that point. Team Zulu's initial saves and then even the follow-ups, knowing that players are always ready to rotate in, is just enough to beat EGirls. And I'm surprised we didn't see more from EGirls in terms of individual flashy plays, or just in the matter of moving the ball enough to make sure that there's at least somewhere where they can put the ball past Team Zulu. They weren't looking like the team who were able to beat a solidly defensive team. And really, it's tried and true phrase, but defense wins championships. And with the way the Team Zulu have just been showing their play against EGirls, that's as solid as defense as you need to be playing in RLRS. So, coincidentally, congratulations to them. That's the third game Team Zulu are in RLRS, and I can't be happier because I picked them. Hey, well done, guys.
Good pick. Well played, Jam. I mean, again, congratulations to Team Zulu. I think the reason we're slightly sad for EGirls is because we know, I think, especially Jam, we've been kind of around these bubble players for quite a while, and to see them perform like that, maybe we were expecting a bit more of them. But let's get Jay in here and see what he thinks, see what his thoughts are on the whole match. Obviously, he's been quietly sat alongside watching us. Jay, what do you make of it all?
I make of surprise is what I genuinely believe that Echo Zulu would not stand a chance against the EGirls. I think the thing that I underestimated the most, I think you guys might agree in this case, is the fact that the Echo Zulu defensive really held up on that one. You know, even when the attacks came in thick and fast from EGirls, they were able to hold that backline in such a good sort of defensive measure. Now, we've seen it a lot from the recent scrims as well. Obviously, those insane numbers being posted by the defensive. Yeah, and in this case, the exact same thing happened. You know, catching off rotations, and whenever they got those shots in for the EGirls, it felt like the defense was just there. You know, they scored only 2 goals throughout that entire series. That was not the performance I expected. You know, and again, that was a team that ripped it up on the DreamHack qualifiers, and here in the RLRS qualifiers, not the same performance, guys. You know. Yeah,
it just didn't quite happen for the EGirls. Yeah, again, I guess the surprise was we've kind of seen these players a lot. I guess in bubble tourneys or weekly tournaments, so we're familiar and we kind of know what they're capable of when they're given that right team or that right framework to operate in. And maybe it's just a case of Echo Zulu had that base, they had that foundation as a much more consistent roster, and we said it a lot, myself and Jam, in that series, but maybe that's what gave them the edge, that competitive chance.
I think it may have been actually, because again, this team has been playing together for well over a year now, I want to say. They've been playing ever since, the last time we saw them really was back at DreamHack Leipzig. That was the major tournament that we've seen them at. But even in some of the smaller tournaments, they never made a roster move. They were allowed to build up that sort of chemistry. And, Jam, it kind of reminds me a lot of the old Method rosters. I'm not going to compare them to Method in terms of the talent basis, but, it is the same sort of story of a team that stuck together over the course of years in the case of Method. And now they're starting to reap the results, I think.
Yeah, I was quickly checking 10, and Impact have been together since the September of last year. Just 2 days ago, actually, they've celebrated their little 1-year anniversary. And
first birthday.
Yeah, first birthday for Team Zulu, I suppose. Taz came in a little bit later, 2 months later, replacing Charging Dingle, who previously replaced Eli. But it's a squad that really hasn't changed. I do believe we've seen plenty of Team Zulu during the Renegade Cup as well. So as a result, this team just have been showing to be growing and growing and growing. Those monthly tournaments, those weekly tournaments they also participate in. Despite their recent string of questionable results, they lost to Notorious Legion. They lost to Team MCS, although that's not a shameful thing to do. MCS is strong squad. lost to again, lost to ... whoever these two teams might be. But they won against Exalti, and that again counts for something in that French kind of side of things.
Yeah.
Despite them being quite a low seed, seemingly they've sort of been flying under the radar. What their preparation was the strongest side was, and the team that can score on them, that can break that solid defense, almost close to a perfect defense, and then are still succumbing to some of these attacks that Team Zulu is putting, they will be down because Team Zulu will just not even outpace, just be patient enough to be solid in defense, and then strike one strike, surgical strikes, bam, series is yours.
Yeah, I think some of those end results kind of put a lot of doubt in people's mind whether Echo Zulu could actually make it. And I think that was certainly for me the case. You know, me and Bacon were talking about it, you know, last week. We're saying, oh, they've lost a lot of sort of matches in that sort of, you know, in their sort of like Nordic regions, and they haven't really been able to hold their own in the Khazar League, for example. So coming into taking account of those results, and we thought to ourselves, okay, well, this probably shouldn't end up being a good time for them. But you talked a lot about a lot of the mistakes that EGirls made. I think you, Chrome, touched on the rotations of the EGirls. Do you believe that was something that really sort of hurt them over the course of that series, like to an extent to cost them the whole 3-0?
I wouldn't put it down to, like, that would not be the single reason they lost it, I don't think. We saw a couple of moments where it was slightly questionable. There was one lobbed goal that really shouldn't have been a goal. But yeah, I don't know. In terms of their three-man plays, they weren't always all up. They were normally quite reserved, maintaining that triangle that you and I were talking about earlier. Just a kind of couple of moments of madness that I guess, again, with that team, that age, the team age, or, you know, sticking together as a core roster, you could kind of eliminate, and that's what we saw Echo Zulu do a lot of the time. They were much more consistent on that, on their framework. But yeah, a couple of rotational slips, not the reason they lost, I wouldn't say.
Well, Jam, what I kind of want to like shoot you guys. I'll give this question to both of you actually. In that case, so we're about to end off and go to a quick break. Where do you think Echo Zulu can go in terms of the grand scale of the RLRS? So start with you, Jam, because obviously they've shown an impressive showing today. How do you feel about their placement in the RLRS rankings?
Oh, they're coming in through into some solid teams. I'm actually quickly checking who is going to be playing in Europe this season. ARG and Method you already mentioned, they're still sticking through. Victor Andre Burrit and Tadpole and ARG. But then versus all the other teams, for me personally, surprised was the Discombobulators getting a place. No disrespect to Relating Wave, Verd, and Nachitao, but that's a team perhaps I didn't expect to appear here. To answer your question, Jay, though, I feel like they're going to be, at the very least, a solid mid-tier team. They're definitely won't be finding themselves at the bottom of the board. Whether they will try and get through these playoffs, maybe through the last spot, I'm actually checking. Yeah, it's a possibility. Top 6 are currently staying in RLRS. So as a result, it's for them, I think their next season almost guaranteed if they can continue a play like this.
And Chrome, with the EGirls, do you think they can make that under our lower bracket run, or do you think maybe that the issues that they showed and the defensive on place from the rest of EU might be able to shut them down?
I feel like there's a chance that they could make it, but my gut feeling is if we see more of what they were putting on in that particular series, they might not go all the way. Just to look at some of those rotational issues, some of those kind of miscommunications and misplays, I think we've definitely seen the caliber of team here today is one that can punish those kind of unforced errors, if you will. So I'd like to be quietly confident, but I think I'm a realist as well. So I think there's a chance, but it's a slim one, is my overall verdict.
All right, then. Well, they will be waiting in the wings for some of the lower bracket teams as that bracket starts to catch up. We'll bring up a quick graphic. I think we might have a graphic ready to show you who is through to the RLRS. Of course, ARG and Method currently still sitting there as those two teams that came in from last season. Discombobulators, Flopmazon, Fadeaway, and Echo Zulu will be the 4 teams that join us from the upper bracket. But again, there are 4 more spots waiting. Vertex, EGirls, Perpetuous Canyons, and the Big Brained Gamers will be waiting for the upper bracket to catch up. Right now, we have got a couple of games still waiting. Right now, the main match that we're focusing on is Game Fist versus 2BIM 1BAM, or 1BIM 2BAM, excuse me. The winner of that match will take on Vertex, which I believe might be the next one on stream. We will go to a bit of a break though, because we are just waiting for those matches to catch up. The lower bracket still has a little bit of a ways to go. So stick with us here on Rival Esports, and as soon as we can, we'll bring you the next qualifying match for the RLRS.